This particular craft turned out to be less profitable than I expected, so don't copy it, but it does demonstrate how memory strands work. I took a helical ring here, and I Warlord influenced it first, and then I cleaned it. So now we have a Warlord helical ring, and there's a reason for that. And now we can use an Orb of Remembrance to add random memory strands. Now I only got 33. Maybe I should have hit it with another one, but they're quite expensive. Now you can't just alch this, so you can, however, use the crafting bench to reroll rarity. Now, I happened to make it blue and then make an imprint. In hindsight, you should make the imprint before you influence it. So now I decided to use a corroded fossil, which blocks elemental, a fundamental fossil, which adds attribute, and a sanctified fossil for higher tiered rolls. Now my thought, of course, is that we could get like a tier 1 all attribute with tier 1 intelligence, dex, or strength. This is a crit multiplier and attribute stacking ring from the get-go. So I tried this for a while because, as you see, fossil crafting does not burn memory strands, nor does bench crafting. So I rolled until I got something I kind of liked. This one was decent. You know, it had the strength, intelligence, but mostly it had the intelligence and the all attributes. The strength was kind of low, so I annulled it, got the strength off. Now, I needed to get rid of that really bad prefix, and instead of just annulling it again, I decided the best timing here, because it had 2 open suffixes, was to use the Beastcraft. Add a suffix, remove a prefix. I got rid of the prefix, opened that up, rolled a random suffix. It hit a pretty poor one, this lightning. So at that point, I said, screw it, I'm just going to annul, and I actually hit it, leaving me with attributes and intelligence, which are both suffixes, but this can have 4 suffixes because of the nature of the helical ring. So now I put on metacrafting, suffixes cannot be changed, and hoarder crafted on reforge with crit, which will guarantee to hit the suffix crit multiplier. You just don't know what tier, but it's guaranteed to hit that because it's the only crit roll that's possible on this base now that it's Warlord influenced. Now it happened to hit a junk prefix. So I did this kind of beast crafting, annulling back and forth. Ended up making this, which looks pretty good on paper, see? So the Orb of Unraveling is the next step. To pull off all those memory strands and try to upgrade the tiers. It can never downgrade the tiers. It's not like a Tainted Divine Teardrop. It cannot downgrade. I hit it, and as you can see, nothing happened. None of the affixes rose, and it just wasn't good enough to keep. But at this stage, because it had no memory strands, was the right time to add catalysts. In the old days, you wanted to do this when it was white. Now it doesn't matter. It's based on eye level. You can do it at the very beginning or the very end. Now to reiterate, annuls do not burn memory strands, nor do scours, things that take away. However, you cannot essence craft, or it'll take away memory strands on the slam. You cannot use regular exalts, chaos orbs, or basic currency like regals, alchs, transmutes. But you can take away. So you have to always re-roll the rarity this way. Reforge the rarity. So this one had better memory strands. I hit a better slam on the memory strands. Decided to craft a different way. Instead of fossil crafting, I did the much cheaper just roll crit. So that way I'm just guaranteeing crit multiplier, and I was just slamming for attributes. So possibly a little harder to hit. But we got this, which had really good strength. And now we just needed to clean it up a little bit. And then I happened to get lucky and hit that. So it has now really good LE Res tier 2, see, tier 1 strength. We can now bench craft on attributes, which has higher effect because it's a helical ring. And as you can see, with the crit and the decent hit with all LE Res, the suffixes are now full. So now we just had to add a prefix. How do we do this? What do we do now? Now you can exalt. You're just going to burn memory strands. You're going to have a higher chance at a better tier. That's one way to use memory strands, is to simply use the basic currency. It might burn all of them or part of them, but it'll have a better chance at a roll, but it's a pure gamble roll. So I decided to do it a different way. Are you guys familiar with this? It's not a popular crafting strat, but I decided, hey, this is a similar effect because we're adding an affix. Add a mod to a Warlord item. I think this has a slightly higher chance to hit influenced affixes. It seems that way, anecdotally. But I know it can hit non-influenced affixes. I happen to hit fire damage per endurance, which is a Warlord affix by pure luck. And I liked it. I thought this looked pretty good. And I had all the memory strands to try to pull and upgrade that tier 2 suffix. I mean, it seems like that's the only thing that needed to be upgraded. It seemed like a good odd. And nothing happened again. So even with higher amount, 58 memory strands, and only needing to upgrade one of them, nothing happened. And so, some say to this day he's still trying to sell that ring. I think it has a niche market. I may use it myself, frankly, on like a strength stacking flicker. It's a good ring, it just doesn't want to sell. So I don't recommend that particular craft. So now I'm going to share with you why I think it's not selling. I bought this extra helical ring, which was already fractured, but it was already pretty decently made. And then I bought this very expensive reflecting mist. They're 57 divine as of the making of this video. They're going to be cheaper at a, earlier in a league. But as you can see, this thing had strength, all attribute, crit multiplier, lightning res, and then I put channeling skills instead of non-channeling, because if you get negative to channeling skills, that could still be used by a lot of builds, in case that went negative. So by mirroring it, you have a chance to have or double all the hits. But you can't use a reflecting mist on an influenced item.